All right, looks like we're live.
You f***ing idiot! You don't blow a shark mating whistle on dry land! You were supposed to blow it!
So, here we are, first proper Saturday show on the new channel. Not really all that new. I set this channel up a couple years ago, actually. Now, I mean, probably like 2015. I was going to do game reviews on it, but I never got around to doing that because I don't know how to do videos because I'm retarded. So this channel just sort of sat here, and then obviously I got the strike where I can't stream, and I was streaming on Luke's channel for a bit, and then just one day it kind of dawned on me like, oh shit, I still have that other channel. So here we are. We'll be streaming on this channel till, I guess, June. And hopefully we'll be able to get back to the other channel where I can still do super chats and that sort of thing. Obviously, super chats aren't enabled on this. What I can do is I'll check PayPal throughout the night. If some of you send me something on PayPal with a message, I'll go ahead and read that message.
And what you guys should do is you should like this video and you should share it with your friends, and then you should listen to it again after you've listened to it once, and then listen to it again, then listen to it again, and that will get it up there so we can eventually monetize it and get them super chats.
Well, yeah, it would be nice if we monetize this channel, but I also get the feeling that, assuming my old channel doesn't get nuked by whiny fucking Enoch fanboys or some shit like that. I mean, by the time it's probably likely by the time I'd be able to monetize this channel, I'd be able to go back to the old one. But it wouldn't hurt to be able to have both of them ready to go for monetization.
Just a thought there. By the way, my name is Matt Forney, and it doesn't hurt a bit.
So, I don't know. Was there anything in the news this week? It seemed like a really slow news week, right? You know, not a lot going on. So there was the YouTube shooter. We're going to get to that. There was Channel Awesome Implosion. We're going to talk about that some. And I know what you're thinking. It's imploding some more. Hasn't it already done that? Well, we'll get to that.
The implosion is imploding.
Yeah, we're reaching sort of an event horizon.
An implosion inception.
And of course, the top story tonight is the doxing of Ricky Vaughn. So, for those of you that don't know, Ricky Vaughn, who, I mean, anybody listening to this probably knows who he is, but Ricky Vaughn was a very influential force on social media during the 2016 election cycle. He posted a lot of alternative right stuff, and I mean that in the broadest sense of the term. You know, anything from the Daily Stormer to InfoWars, and he was a major force in the internet landscape in helping to get Trump elected. You know, some estimated he had more pull than fucking NBC.
That was according to the, not just some, it was MIT measured the top election influencers for the election cycle 2 years ago. And Ricky Vaughn was ranked as having more influence than NBC News, Stephen Colbert, and The Drudge Report.
Well, Luke, don't throw his picture up there. I know it's out there, but I don't want to spread it around more. The poor guy. Anyways, he gets completely fucking doxxed. And he's doxxed by Paul Nealon. Now, Paul Nealon is somebody who's trying to run against what? Paul Ryan, I think it is?
Yes, Paul Ryan in the Republican primary.
And he is an absolute raving fucking bad man who just screams about the Jews. And I guess supposedly Ricky Vaughn in his real life works as like a political consultant.
Yes.
And he approached Nealon and that fell through. So Nealon just flat out fucking doxed this guy. Now, the reason some, not that many, I'm proud to say some in the alt-right have supported it, is because Ricky Vaughn has been very critical of the direction of the alt-right in the past several months. And a lot of people have called him a cuck because of that. Well, he's basically been arguing that, you know, there is a middle ground between ethno-nationalism and civic nationalism. You know, it's the middle ground that America held for the majority of its fucking history.
And also that goon marches aren't a great way to win over normal people.
Yeah, that Charlottesville was a complete shit show. He's argued, you know, that there needs to be changings in tactics, that the alt-right is becoming a shit show, that sort of thing. And I'm hard-pressed to disagree with any of it. Well, guys like Nealon and Cantwell, who's a big supporter of Nealon's actions, have deemed this all as subversive and evil and worthy of doxing this guy. Now, this guy is having his life completely ruined. Leftists are rejoicing in this. Conservatives like Rick Wilson are rejoicing in this. You know, if your actions make the Huffington Post and Rick Wilson happy, your actions were probably evil. Just keep that as a general rule in your life. If you've made Rick Wilson and the Huffington Post evil, are happy, what you're doing is evil. Just
But Ricky compared white nationalism to radical Islam. Bechtloff, are you cucking out now?
Yes, I'm cucking out. Wignat is a phrase he apparently had where he called it wigger nationalism, which really got under their skin because they're all a bunch of degenerates who stick meth up their ass and fuck their mother-in-laws. But just as a general rule, if the Huffington Post and Rick Wilson are happy with you, reevaluate your fucking life, son.
Speaking of which, I believe Sargon has something to say about Wignats.
I'm sure he does. And yeah, it's rough. So, look, I've always liked Cantwell. Even the last year, I guess, where he's gone down a path that I don't think was good for him. I don't think is good, period. I've still defended him on a personal level. I've said I like the guy. You know, I can't defend him anymore. I really can't. And I know he's not like he was on a stream with Coach Red Pill and he kept saying like, I'm not the guy who doxed. I'm just the guy who supports it. Well, okay, fine, whatever. All right. It doesn't matter. All right. You're out there running your mouth talking about how it's a good thing. You've thrown you threw your lot in with who you threw your lot in there. You don't get to suddenly be like, well, I didn't do it.
You are acting like a bunch of niggers.
Indeed. Harsh words, Sargon. Harsh but fair. And something else he said in the stream, they were asking him if he would dox people. And he said something along the lines of, it depends on how I get the information. Because he said, I obviously get a lot of information from people who support me financially or buy shirts or whatever. And I can't use that information because I'm under a contract, right? Which is quite interesting because, Luke, if you could throw, I put it in the chat here, a little piece of Gab, a little Gab tweet or whatever the hell we call it from Cantwell, where someone was bringing up a similar response. Somebody at Racist Baby on Gab says, I'm a big fan of yours, talking to Cantwell. I think you're entertaining. I was hoping you'd be allowed backing with the TRS sphere. But this recent thing with Nealon doxing Vaughn and you endorsing it really spooked me. I'm really scared of you guys now. Cantwell responds, pretty sure you'll be fine if you don't go out of your way to be a dishonest, subversive piece of shit. But if that's something you might get around to doing at some point, then I guess you shouldn't have me ship anything to you.
By the way, in case you are like smoking meth and you think Cantwell is being in any way reasonable here, keep in mind, these people regard anyone who doesn't go around wearing a swastika armband talking about how they want to kill Jews as subversive or an enemy.
And here's the thing. Doxing is a pretty, let's call it extreme measure to do to anybody. I'm not going to say I would never do it, that there's nobody I'd ever fucking do it to. But you have to be pretty fucking vile in my eyes for it to be remotely justified. In other words, you got to be fucking you got to be movie Bob level of leftists in order for me to halfway justify it.
Or Laughing Witch. Remember her?
Yeah. And those people actually very rarely even are anonymous because they don't have to be, because nobody gets fired for being a fucking leftist. That's the other thing. Doxing a leftist just inherently isn't as bad to them as doxing a rightist is. A right-winger is. It just inherently isn't. But that's the thing. Ricky Vaughn was a right-winger. Ricky Vaughn was on the right. Okay, you don't dox. This wasn't some hard, vile enemy. This was somebody that probably agreed with you 70% of the fucking time there, Cantwell. All right. So if you draw the line and say Ricky Vaughn's just a leftist and dox him, then there's almost nobody in your movement that you couldn't justify a doxing for. Therein lies the chilling effect.
Yes, I mean, the other thing too is like, again, it's worth pointing out again, Ricky Vaughn was doxed not by the left, but by someone who was ostensibly on his side. If you have anything to lose, why would you get involved in the distant right? Why would you get involved in the alt-right if you have a good job or a family or anything? If at any point someone like Nayland could just decide to go psycho and leak your information publicly because of some minor disagreement or they didn't take their meds that day. Anyone who has any value to the movement is currently stampeding towards the exits because they're afraid that something like this might happen to them. Ricky Vaughn shared his personal his identity with Paul Nayland in confidence because he was hoping to help Nayland out as a consultant, help him get elected to Congress. And Nayland goes around and doxes him over a minor disagreement. The message that sends, the damage that has been done to the right wing in America is incalculable from this move.
Yeah. Anglin over at the Daily Stormer said something to the effect of, both Nayland, the doxer, and everyone who supports them is persona non grata to me. They don't exist. They're not friends. They're not enemies. They're nothing. They're nothing but noises in the wind. You just ignore them. You isolate and ignore them. And I don't see how that's a bad idea.
Yes, basically that should be a hard and fast rule. If you dox someone over something in this fashion, you should be gone. It's simple. Cantwell, Nayland, Hunter Wallace, Jason Kessler. Well, these people should have been left by the barge a long time ago. They should have been put on an ice floe and sent out to sea because they were already fucking useless. But this should make it clear to everyone. And the other thing too is we should also consider Gab's role in enabling this because Nayland posted the docs on Gab. People petitioned Andrew Torba, the head of Gab, to get rid of it and ban Nayland because, well, doxing it should be against the TOS and because it was depriving Ricky of his free speech. Torba was like, no, I'm not going to do it because it hasn't been confirmed yet. So he sits on his hands for 2 days. It gets to the Huffington Post. Ricky Vaughn has to, delete all his social media accounts. Is currently in hiding. Then Torba goes and bans him after the damage has been done. Congratulations, Torba. Congratulations.
I get it. I get that he's desperately trying to be very, very hands-off when it comes to policing these sorts of things. But see, the problem with Twitter and Facebook isn't that they have rules. The problem with Twitter and Facebook is that those rules are specifically designed and usually only enforced against right-wingers. That's the problem with those sites. It's not that they look like on Facebook, you can't say faggot. You say faggot, you're going to get your post fucking removed and you're going to get your little Facebook jail time. All right. Now, look, I got really mad about that a couple years ago because my personal account, I guess I had friended somebody that was going through back, posts and reporting that shit. And, I'm quite fond of the word faggot. And I remember actually emailing like Facebook support because it had happened to me like 3 times in a row and said, look, I'm not doing it anymore, but like, what do you expect me to do here? You expect me to go through like 3 years worth of posts and delete all of them? And I finally just deleted that Facebook account and started a new one. But I don't necessarily mind it that much now. It's a gay rule, but it's their site and it's their rule. If they would just make the rules clear, it would be fine. I only discovered that rule by accident. I'm not opposed to a site having rules. That's not the problem with Facebook and Twitter. Gab should have rules. Okay? There should be, it's nice to keep those rules as loose as possible, but you should have some fucking rules.
Well, the simple problem with Gab, and I was discussing this with a friend of mine, and he put it like this. There's really no objective standard of what is acceptable on the site beyond what Torba happens to like or doesn't like. It's basically entirely subject to his whims. In the case of Weave, for example, Torba didn't like Weave because Weave was calling Torba on his bullshit, so he banned Weave for a relatively minor infraction. Now, Torba keeps claiming that Weave was talking about killing people, but he's never actually produced evidence of this. Whereas Torba likes Nayland, so he keeps, he treats Nayland with kid gloves up until the point where his user base is revolting and threatening to walk out and divest their investments if he doesn't do something about Nayland.
Well, again, that's the problem with Twitter and Facebook. It isn't that there are rules; it's that the rules, you get banned on Facebook because you upset Jack. You get banned on Facebook for because you upset Jack or whatever other shitbag happened to be doing the monitoring. The rules are just it's not wrong to have the rules, but you need them to be clear and you need them to be fair.
Yeah, the other thing, Gab. I mean, I was initially didn't realize this, but I've come around to the fact that Gab really needs a block button, simply because you need to have. Gab basically is a place where there is no freedom of association. Okay, with Gab, even if they have a mute function, so that if people you don't like, comment at you, you can just make their comments invisible, but they can still loiter in the responses to your posts and spam you with retarded shit. I mean, Ricky Vaughn was actually talking about this just before he got doxxed. The reason it makes the site unusable if you have, popular users, fucking, neo-Nazi 1488, handle, screaming about the Jews in their comments, and they can't do anything about it. They can't block them, can't do anything like that.
Well, I don't know. I don't like the idea of the block button, so I haven't completely gotten on board with that. I think you should be able to block them from following you, but not necessarily seeing your posts or whatever. I always hated how the block button turned out on Twitter, where it just became, people talking shit from behind a block button. Everybody hides behind a fucking block button and all. And it always struck me as, except for cases of real harassment and all, the block button is for faggots.
True, but the thing is, if you've got like some retard, replying to 8 million times with the same variation on the Jews, yeah, you got to get rid of that shit because nobody wants to see it, and it's just shitting things up, and because people are so shitty that I think that's what necessitates the block button, really, because people are shitty and can't handle a free speech site. If we had, a sort of it's like me and Arini talked about on streams earlier this week. There's no consensus. There's no consensus on what reality is. There's no consensus on what shared values are. And without that, basically, stuff like a block button is necessary because otherwise, it just evolves into the lowest common denominator, which is what Gab has become. It's just Nazis screaming at each other.
I can say that I from having to start this channel, I discovered, albeit by accident, how useless Gab and Facebook's are at bringing traffic to me. Because, I mean, I started a stream on here where I announced it like, an hour beforehand on Gab. Look, new channel, check it out. And, I mean, I had like 2 people listening live.
Yeah, I mean, I should have left Gab a long time ago. I mean, social media in general has become very overrated in terms of drawing people over to your content, but Gab was particularly useless. Like, the most amount of traffic I've ever gotten from Gab, and you're not going to believe this, was when I posted an article attacking Gab on Thursday, and Andrew Torba linked it to attacking me. Literally, that's it. And it's worth noting he responded to that article within an hour of me posting it. You can't fix basic problems with the site like the lack of a block button or various technical issues such as not being able to resize your avatar when you upload it. But oh, by Gowdy, he can hunt down every criticism of Gab on the internet and whine about it. Because I didn't target this sim anyway. I'd stopped using Gab by the time I posted this article. I didn't try to contact him. I didn't have any sort of interaction with him. He found that article on his own and posted it to whine about. Really says a lot, doesn't it? Really makes you think. That's your cue, Luke.
His connection's rough, so we're probably just going to be using him for visuals tonight. Let's see.
A great clip for Luke to queue up in the future would be like that quote from the Simpsons where it's like, Together we are just individual, but you know, individually we are weak, but together we form a mighty faggot.
Yeah, individually we are weak like a twig, but together we form a mighty faggot.
It would have been so appropriate for tonight.
Somebody in the chat says, I suppose that nobody has considered Nayland was a clown sent in to cause this kind of carnage. I don't think he's
well. The thing is,
I think he's just a jackass.
Well, the thing is, a couple of years ago, he was a pretty sane candidate. You know, that's why we all supported him when he ran against Ryan the first time. I think the issue with him is like, well, he could be a Fed. I mean, I'm going to jokingly refer to, Cantwell, Hunter Wallace, Jason Kessler, and Nayland as the Fed right now. They're no longer the alt-right. They're the Fed right. But it's just as likely that he realized that he could get a lot of attention online by saying crazy and outlandish shit, and he just got addicted to it. This is the first time in his life that anyone has ever given a shit about what he had to say. And he took it too far, and now he's gone into the throes of internet-induced psychosis. Either way, the outcome is the same. He's a fucking asshole and needs to be, bitch slapped and ostracized. But
yeah, I can't. I can't defend any of these guys on this. There's no defending it. Let me bring up. Okay, so I can't verify.
Individually, we are weak, like a single twig, but as a bundle, we form a mighty faggot.
I'm surprised that got past the censors. Okay, so over on freestarter.com, I threw the link in the description there, Luke, if you want to put it up. Ricky Vaughn Official Support Fund. This is the official support fund for Ricky Vaughn, set up by a committee of his friends. Ricky has come under attack. Blah, blah. Okay, so of a $10,000 goal, $720 has been raised by 10 backers. Here's the thing: I can't verify the validity of this.
I can verify it. It was posted by Chuck Johnson, who knows Ricky in real life.
Okay, I was going to say, because I just saw this earlier, so I'm not telling people directly to support it. I'm telling people, do your homework, make sure it's real, and then consider supporting it.
As you can see there, it was posted by the Free Starter admin. That means it's legit, because the actual people who ran the site posted it. And Free Starter is a reliable site. I use them for donations, and so does Roosh.
All right. Well, I'll take your word for that. Like I said, I just wanted to throw that out there, cover my ass that I'm not, because that'd be my luck. I'd say, hey, go support this. And it turns out I got, I encourage people to donate to a scam or something. But no, then it sounds like it's legit. I would say, you might want to consider throwing a buck or two that way. Of course, right after you hit up my Patreon.
Yes. Spread the shekels around, Let us all feel the shekel love. And I do believe Ricky really, needs it and deserves it, considering all the hard work he's done over the past couple of years to, elect Donald Trump.
Yeah, I would say it's worth supporting the guy. Definitely worth it. What else was there on this? I don't know. We might get back to this topic, but I think we exhausted.
I want to highlight a comment from the chat. Blue Team 796 kind of summed up. Gab has turned into the internet equivalent of a trailer park.
I mean, I'm still on it, and I like it because I'm not allowed on fucking Twitter. Which is bullshit. I really hope somebody ends up suing their asses for that kind of crap. But at the same time, I mean, because I actually did get some traffic from Twitter. I can't defend it. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm off Twitter. I'm not going back unless Torba wises up and adds a block button. But he's consistently refused to do that, so the site will probably cease to exist by the end of the year. And unlike Bechtloff, I am allowed on Twitter, though not under my real name. So hush, hush.
Oh yeah, they got me fucking IP blocked. Because I'm just that dangerous, apparently.
Yeah, they never gave me that treatment. I've got 3 Twitter accounts right now, none of them under my real name, and all of them which I'm using to cause havoc.
I mean, they even showed woke as fuck Kirby. Although, in all fairness, he probably had it coming.
Yeah, he kind of probably. He's a good boy. He just didn't do nothing. That's right, Bechtloff.
Didn't do nothing. He was just trying to get his life together. He was on his way to church when they banned him. Actually, Luke, you should throw up the Kirby Goes to Church image to go along with that. So, all right. Let's a couple other things I wanted to talk about, obviously, tonight. But first, let's go ahead and do the sponsors, shall we? The sponsors this week for this fine program, we got, first of all, Asshole Consulting by Aaron Clary, where you can get the big brother / fatherly advice that you never got, especially if you're a millennial, raised by some dipshit boomer. You're probably told a lot of horseshit. Well, Aaron Clary has a very unique perspective. He's
the world's only professional asshole.
Indeed. He's a numbers man. He's a trained economist. He knows what he's talking about, and it's a perspective you should definitely check out. Costs you $100 an hour, which sounds like a lot, but it's not, because you're not going to use an hour of his time. It's a bit more if you want to go ahead and get a video, but you certainly don't have to do that. So do check out Asshole Consulting. Also, we have the sponsor, Steve's Jerky. Now, I managed to get me some Steve's Jerky recently.
And you pigged out.
It's fucking fantastic. I got 3 bags. It was, what was it? I guess it was last Friday they came. 3 bags of that shit. They were gone by Sunday. And I was attempting to show restraint. I could have eaten them fuckers in one sitting. They were fantastic. All right. And that's not just me saying it. People have called into the show, say they love Steve's Jerky. People in the chat have told me they love Steve's Jerky. It's fantastic. Do check it out.
I have not had any, but every time I hear about it, my mouth is just watering.
Oh, dude, it's fantastic.
They don't ship internationally. Steve, you gotta have international shipping, because I will be on that shit.
I think that's really a pain in the ass when you got food stuff, though.
There has to be a way to figure it out, man. It's just Steve's Jerky. It's so good it cannot just be contained to the U.S. And I'm not just saying that because I'm over here.
Yeah, next time you visit the U.S., you gotta. I don't know if you're gonna crash at a parent's house or something, but you gotta have that. You gotta have. Go ahead and order that so it's waiting for you when you get here, because it's fantastic. Also, down below you'll see the PayPal and the Patreon and the Amazon wish list. And I do got to set up a cryptocurrency thing. I'm sorry, folks. I've been a little distracted. What with, having my channel privileges destroyed because a Mike Enoch fanboy was pissy that I was pointing out that Mike Enoch was lying. So, look, you got the PayPal where you can send a one-time donation. And since I don't have super chats, I will check PayPal periodically throughout streams. You could send a PayPal and put a message in there you want me to read on the streams. You could put I won't read your name. I'll just use the first name, or I'll use a screen name if you put it in there. That's the best substitute for a super chat I can do right now. But anyways, there's the PayPal where you can send a one-time donation. There's the Patreon where you can become a regular supporter, and many people have. I appreciate that. And there's the Amazon wish list where you can just send me some bullshit that I'd like to have. The one thing with the Amazon wish list I will say is that any kind of media I get off of it, I will do a review of. Either a quick one on one of the streams or possibly an animated video if I think I have enough to say about it. So if I get a game, if I get a book, if I get a DVD, I will review it on here. So, if somebody's kind enough to get me something off there, I feel that's the least I can do. Somebody got me Jordan Peterson's new book. I will review that when I'm done with it. The other 2 things somebody got off of there were a couple of figures. I'm not going to review them because what the fuck am I going to do? Yeah, they're action figures. They look cool on my fucking bookshelf. What else do you want me to say?
So that means if I mail you a copy of Salo, you'll watch it and review it?
I don't know what that is, but no, it applies to my wish list.
Damn it. Well, you'll enjoy it. It's a World War II movie.
I know it's something fucked up. I know that's what I don't know what it is, but I know what you're trying to do there. But no, that applies to my wish list. If there's a DVD on there, if there's a book on there, if there's a game on there, I will review it when I'm done with it. So yeah, at some point you can expect a review of Peterson's book on here. Somebody says, Bechtloff, are you heading to Twitch or BitChute? I am actually on BitChute. The animated videos are on BitChute. I don't know, BitChute.com/the Bechtloff. I don't fucking know. But yeah, I'm on BitChute. I am thinking about heading to Twitch. We'll see on that.
Twitch is damn nice. You should check that out.
I have a Twitch account. I have a Twitch account. I just to comment on some streams here and there. But I am looking into possibly streaming on Twitch. So, yeah, we'll see on that. For now, the plan going forward is that this is going to be the home of the streams until June. However, streams will then be later uploaded to the Bechtloff channel starting Wednesday. I currently have 2 strikes on me where I got to fucking wait till Wednesday to even be able to upload videos. But once I'm able to upload videos, we're going to upload the streams that weren't on the Bechtloff. We're going to upload them on there. So that way, at the very least, the people who haven't gotten the memo that I've moved to this new channel they'll see the streams uploaded, hear me talking about this new channel, and boom. And plus, when I upload those streams, there'll be a link to the new channel. So that's how we're going to go with this going forward.
The show will go on.
Yeah, look, I'll try and do this as long as I can, folks. I mean, there may come a day where they just chase my ass off the fucking internet and there'd be nothing I could do about it. This isn't my livelihood. This isn't my life. I have other things going on, both in my personal life and both, this doesn't make the majority of the money I take in. It does put a few extra bucks in my pocket, and I appreciate it, but it's not my livelihood. It's not my life. If it goes away tomorrow, I'd be sad about it, but life would move on. And to be honest, if it does go away tomorrow, I mean, it was a blessing to have it as long as I did. I got a lot out of doing this. I got to talk to, I met some lifelong friends. I got to talk to a lot of people I just, love and respect. Guys like Medicare and fucking Common Filth and Razor Fist. It's just been a blast.
Yeah, you got a ton of Steve's jerky.
Yeah, I got Steve's jerky out of the deal. I mean, it's been fantastic, and I'll keep doing this as long as I can. But the current, the reality of the internet is, we have these monopolies that are not held to the responsibility of a monopoly. That's the sad reality of the internet. And as much as you want to talk about, alternative sites, Facebook replaced MySpace. Well, first of all, there were some CIA spooks helping to prop Facebook up in the first place. But even that aside, I mean, the infrastructure of the internet is solidified a lot more than it was 10, 15 years ago. I don't, like, I put my videos up on BitChute, the animated videos. But BitChute seems really nice, but the problem with it is nobody's fucking using it. The problem with YouTube alternatives is nobody's fucking on them. Yeah, even Razor Fist the other night on a stream, somebody asked him, because he was playing a Star Trek game, somebody asked him if he's watched SF Debris, and he basically said he didn't because SF Debris isn't on YouTube. So you don't catch it as much if YouTube is just what you're used to going on. That's just the sad reality of it.
It takes a lot to move people to new platforms. I mean, even in my own browsing habits, generally what I watch is on YouTube, just because YouTube and SoundCloud for some podcasts, but just because it's convenient. I'm not going to go to a million sites just to keep up with some people's content. I just can't. I don't have that many hours in the day.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, I'll keep doing this as long as I can, but if they want to shut me down, there's not a whole hell of a lot I can do about it. And if you're upset about that, and you should be, I don't know what to tell you other than to pester your congressman and senator as much as you can, because they're the only ones that can do anything.
There's not 10 sites liked on the.
Yeah.
General social network, there's Facebook. MySpace died because Facebook is it. Friendster died because MySpace was it. For social status updates kind of site, there's Twitter. Nobody uses Plur. For the video-focused social network, there's YouTube. Nobody uses Vimeo or Dailymotion. And when you start listing so-called alternatives to Facebook or alternatives to YouTube, what you find is that these aren't really direct competitors to Facebook or YouTube, but they're actually niche sites that just happen to bear a superficial resemblance to Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah, pretty much.
And just remember, don't be sad that it ended. Be glad that it happened.
Pretty much. I mean, hell, even just to show you how much I got fucked on the Twitter thing. I have a hard time getting in touch with Razorfist now to get him on the show. I could like message him on Facebook or you know, but the thing about it is he doesn't really check those. He just doesn't that much. Razorfist doesn't. He doesn't maintain that much of a like he went to Gab supposedly and then just gave up on it. You know, he's on Twitter. That's his social media presence. And he followed me back, so I used to be able to DM him. I can't anymore. So booking Razorfist on here is incredibly hard now because I don't have a reliable means to contact him because I got fucked out of Twitter. Common Filth, I mean, you basically can't book him now. He's almost completely off the internet.
Well, he's deleting his videos. I think he's done.
You know, all he does now is Nostalgia Wound once in a while for kicks. So that's the thing about it. I mean, like, if they want to run me off the internet, I mean, there's not a whole hell of a lot I can do about it. It's pretty ironic that they're doing it to defend the honor of fucking Mike Enoch this time around. But, you know, I'm beginning to realize Mike Enoch is, much like Richard Spencer, one of the favorite white nationalists of the establishment. England, however, is not. England is, for whatever reason, completely blacklisted off these sites. I mean, hell, they showed Baked Alaska just for talking to the guy. But yeah, that's just the state of things, folks. Like I said, I'll keep doing this as much as I can, but the problem, like I poured a lot of effort into the fucking VidMe channel, and then they went tits up. You know, I was hoping it was going to be the next best thing, but because, yeah, we do need... But that's the thing. The internet doesn't need another YouTube. The internet needs YouTube to stop being shitty. Again, it's fine to have rules. The rules just need to be clear, and they need to be fair. That's it. You know, I had streams banned for quote-unquote bullying a man, and by bullying him, I pointed out that he was lying. That was the bullying.
And as we're about to discuss, these things are going to have some very serious consequences for certain individuals.
So, speaking of YouTube being shitty, let's talk about the YouTube shooter, shall we? A lot of interesting little elements to this. First of all, a site called Mashable on Twitter actually posted a picture of this girl. She's some form of fucking kebab, Iranian, I think. And they went ahead and lightened her skin and greened her eyes for the picture of her on the site. Mashable, I think it was. But turns out this actually doesn't meet the narrative. This wasn't a right-winger. This was an Iranian immigrant who was some sort of weird militant vegan and all sorts of other wacky fucking beliefs. And she, apparently the motivation seems to be she was fucking pissed that YouTube was demonetizing her videos.
She's also not bad looking for a complete crazy bitch.
Yeah, she's got crazy in her eyes, but
as for it being kebab, as a Persian, she is technically Aryan, so
I don't know. I heard from the white nationalists that Roosh is a rapey kebab. So, point is though, getting back to Gab, Torba actually had a good statement on this, and I don't have it in front of me, so I'm not going to have it verbatim. But he basically said, "Look, when you deny people a voice, you give them no other means of when you deny people a non-violent means of expression, you give them nothing left but a violent means of expression." You know, look, nobody likes to be denied a voice. Okay, I got to admit, I'm pretty fucking pissed that I got my channel showed. Now, the thing about it is I'm not crazy and I have things to lose and things to live for. So I'm not going to go on a fucking shooting spree over it. But I am pretty pissed. And I'll be honest with you, wasn't feeling a lot of sympathy for any of the injured. This woman didn't even manage to kill anybody. Holy shit, sweetie. You know, no wonder your sex only makes 77 cents on the dollar. But I got to admit, I heard, oh, the YouTube headquarters was getting shot up. And I'm like, good, fuck them. Because I'm pretty pissed about the fact that they fucked me. And I imagine a lot of other people are pretty pissed. Now, again, I'm not crazy. I have things to live for. I have things, you know, to lose. I'm not going to go crazy and go shoot people. Plus, it's not worth it. It just, even if I could fucking do it, I wouldn't, because, you know, I have a fucking sense of morality. You know, I want to punch the people that work in YouTube in the mouth. I don't want to shoot them. But the thing about it is when you take somebody that's crazy and then you deny them a voice, well, they're going to snap. See, letting people express themselves is sort of a release valve on the crazy. You shut off that release valve and the pressure just builds. People don't like this bullshit. They don't like being devoiced. And,
you know, it's like those who say, you know, those who make peaceful discussion impossible make violent revolution inevitable.
Yeah. And before any of you takes this out of context, I'm not saying she was right to do it or any dumb shit like that. And look, I think my audience is smart enough to know what the hell I'm saying here.
Yes,
but there's certainly some people that follow me for a hate boner that would want to take this out of context.
Yes, obligatory disclaimer. It was a tragedy that what happened. You know, what she did was horrible, and thoughts and prayers to the families of those affected.
Well, I'm not going to go as far as thoughts and prayers. Fuck everyone who works at Google. But no, it wasn't right what she did. You know, you can be nuanced enough to know that something unjust happened to a shitbag. But at the same time, you know, you keep pulling this stunt, and you're more and more likely to have this shit happen. Okay, it's just inevitable. You know, it's kind of a what did you think was going to happen, Google.
No, I remember a couple of years ago, Roosh wrote a short story on his website. I forget the title of it, but it was about basically a guy who has his doxed and is ruined by a left-wing news website, and he goes on a shooting spree. That's basically what this is, only it's a woman instead of a man. Because the thing is, when you deprive people of their livelihoods, that's the thing, okay? This whole idea of hounding someone out of the public sphere so that they're unemployable and completely ostracized has no real. Well, it does have parallels to certain things in previous history, but it's never been possible on this scale before. Okay, prior to the age of the internet, if you had like wacky opinions or stuff like that, or maybe you had you did some crazy stuff that pissed people off. Generally, the greater world had no way of knowing about it. Okay, unless you were some super famous person. Okay. You could have a little zine where you talked about, intersectional feminism and your favorite types of guns or whatever, and nobody would care. But now, in the age of the internet, everything is linked. Everything is forever. Everything is linked to your name. Someone can punch your name into Google, find out everything you've ever done. And when this power is abused to basically make people pariahs, eventually you're going to have a gigantic mass of people who have nothing to lose outside of the current system. They exist outside of the system, and they have no motivation, no reason to care if it falls. And in the case of someone like this nut job, they may want to see it fall because they feel wronged, because they have been wronged.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he should have killed her, but I understand.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have, we still live in a free society, in quotes. We don't throw people in prison. We don't have political prisoners. So that's a good thing. But the thing is, even political prisoners get to eat. You've been hounded out of employment, or in the case of this woman had your channel destroyed through bullshit demonetization algorithms. You ain't eating.
All right, so moving on. Let's talk about Channel Awesome, shall we? An interesting thing happened this week. All of a sudden, I saw like everybody fucking talking about haha, Channel Awesome is collapsing. Like out of nowhere. I just like Pat the NES Punk is a YouTube channel I really like. He does a podcast with his one friend, Ian, who Ian is an insufferable fuck, by the way, but I like Pat. Anyways, he takes that podcast, he puts like little chunks based on topics, little 5 to 10 minute videos, puts it up on his YouTube. And all of a sudden I saw a holy shit, Channel Awesome is collapsing video from him. And then a whole bunch of other places were talking about like Channel Awesome is collapsing. And I thought to myself, that's funny. I'm pretty sure the Channel Awesome has been collapsing in on itself for about, 3 to 5 years now.
Hasn't it collapsed? Like the collapse is collapsing. It's an implosion inception.
Yeah, it's imploding upon an implosion. At a certain point, it's going to become a black hole. It's going to wipe out this solar system. So all of a sudden, I'm like, what is going on? Well, apparently, there was some sort of Google Doc leaked where a bunch of the inside information got completely spilled. And the guy who owns the site, that isn't Doug, it's like Mike Mashad, I think is his name. He is a complete shitbag. Now, we've seen bits and pieces of this already. Like, for instance, Obscurus Lupa, who, by the way, I would fuck the shit out of her. I don't care what anybody says. Anyways, Obscurus Lupa, I've heard a rumor that, like, Phalus is a literal cuck, which, if that's true, fucking call me, Lupa. Anyways, I hope it's not true, though. They kind of seem cool. She said that at one point, like, she was talking to Mashad on Skype or something, and she was away from her computer for 10 minutes, and he got butt hurt that she was ignoring him and threw her off the site because of that, which then Phalus and everyone else under that, like everybody had little sub studios and all, and everyone under Phalus then left. But yeah, there's tons of shit like that. Like when they were filming the fucking movies, they didn't supply food and water for the fucking crew. So they're filming out in the middle of a butt-fuck nowhere desert, as Doug is dressed like M. Bison being a faggot, and none of them have food and water. I mean, just insanely unprofessional shit like that. And the thing about it is, there's been people for years that have been saying this shit, like Lord Cat. Everyone wanted to be, Lord Cat's just butthurt, and he's a fat loser, whatever. Well, he was fucking right. Whatever his motivation was, he was fucking right, wasn't he?
His rant about Spoonie is epic.
Yeah. I just seen you put the Lupa thing there, Luke. But yeah, this has been going on for years. It's now reached a point, though, where it's now kind of a critical mass where nobody can ignore it.
It's like your neighbor beating his wife, and eventually he starts beating her out on the front yard where everyone can see it.
Yeah, it's like we all knew this was fucking happening, but now we can't even pretend it's not. And I mean, to some extent, I don't know exactly what to say because I've covered the topic of Channel Awesome's implosion and the implosion of this sort of e-celebrity bubble and Spoonie's implosion and that stuff. I've covered it a lot on these channels because I genuinely find it fascinating. I mean, with sites like Channel Awesome had the potential to be something special. I mean, to be the big entertainers in the golden age of this new medium, or whatever, the internet. And that potential was just completely wasted by a complete lack of professionalism on the part of you. There was no adult in charge anywhere at these sites. Apparently the guy that was in charge was an absolute shitbag. And I mean, you're just seeing the implosion. You know what I mean? there's not a huge amount you can talk about it even, but at the same time, and most of these people are shitheads. I mean, Lindsay Ellis is pure fucking evil. Hell, the nicest one of the bunch is the guy that killed himself, G Wario.
That tells you a lot.
The poor guy, and this is going to sound so harsh, but now maybe I'm wondering why nobody around him could fucking see it either. All these friends of his could fucking see it either, because apparently they're all self-absorbed shitbags. So no wonder they couldn't see the misery this guy was in.
Well, that probably kind of accelerated his decline, being around all these people.
Yeah, no shit.
But what exactly entails this implosion?
Well, I mean, nothing yet. Officially, the site's still up. It's still churning around. But this is a huge amount of backlash all of a sudden. Like I said, everyone, it's now become cool to jump on the Fuck Channel Awesome bandwagon. Because remember, just a few years ago, they were the cool kids, right? Well, now they're the pariahs. And I don't know. I don't know what exactly is going to happen. I mean, there's certain people who are just going to be fanboys of it till the end. I mean, I mentioned Razor Fist, and I love Razor Fist. He's always welcome on here. But I'm continuously shocked to the extent that he will defend Spoonie. Especially given the fact that if Spoonie is aware of Razor Fist's existence, he probably hates him. If you're to the right of Karl Marx, Spoonie fucking hates you right now. So I don't know. I don't know if there's still going to be, enough of a fucking... I don't know if the site's just going to continue to limp along or not. I don't know what's going to happen to it.
Maybe Mike Bichon will have to go back to working at Best Buy, which is literally what he was doing before Channel Awesome was formed, which it kind of indicates the trajectory these guys were on before they got lucky. And that's basically what it is, getting lucky. I mean, we have to face facts that a lot of these early content creators, video hosts, really weren't all that talented. The reason they got so big is because they were doing it first. Guys like Spoonie, Nostalgia Critic, were doing what they were doing first. And so they fill the void. I actually remembered the fucking Indian kid who played Mati in the Channel Awesome movies. I remember actually talking about this in a video that was filmed around the same time as the first Channel Awesome movie. He said, "There's a window right now that's open for content creators, and it's closing soon, and you guys are going to be the vanguard of it," or something like that.
I think that some, and not even generally Channel Awesome people generally, but some of the content creators had real talent, and they're going to have real staying power as a result. I'm thinking of guys like James Rolfe, JonTron. These are guys that have the potential to be around for a very, very long time doing what they're doing. JonTron and James Rolfe are probably the two biggest ones in my opinion.
Well, I'd say Rolfe has he has been around for a long, long time. I mean, he's been doing this continuously since 2004. That's 14 years. That's like 70 in internet years. And
he'll continue to do it for a very, very long time. He has the potential to really just to make this a truly lifelong career. Same with JonTron. I don't know if JonTron has a day job or not, because he doesn't upload that frequently, and he doesn't have a Patreon from what I understand. But if he had a Patreon, he'd be clearing house. All right, he'd be just raking in the ducats, because JonTron's fucking awesome. And JonTron can keep doing this till the end of damn time. All right, till he's 90 years old, and he's still going to be making people laugh. He's that good. A lot of these people, however, not so much. And yeah, so many of them just swimming in Doug's wake. And so many of them, they just happen to be there fucking first or early.
Yeah, someone like Angry Joke, for example. There's someone who basically knows everything he has to the fact that he was there first. He's not that good.
Oh no, Angry Joe's a borderline retard. Now, Angry Joe has a very good charisma and energy about him. Everybody likes Angry Joe when they first discover him. And then a little bit in, they begin to realize what a retard he is, and then he has no idea what he's talking about. But he has a good charisma, he has a good presentation. He would have had more staying power, in my opinion, if he'd had somebody that knows what the fuck they're talking about writing scripts for him.
And he has a good work ethic, I'll give him that.
Yeah, he has that too. And he'll be around for a while just because of momentum. But he's definitely reached his peak. So many of these guys just and a lot of the appeal to so many of them was a certain everyman appeal. The appeal to a guy like Spoonie, the appeal, for instance, is that it feels like listening to your buddy bitch about stuff. Well, so many of these people have turned out to be such reprehensible shitbags that, in my opinion, the everyman appeal is gone. I would argue Joe had a certain everyman appeal about him. But when I see him sucking up to Anita Sarkeesian, when I see him making an absolute ass of himself, getting his shit pushed in by Jeff Keighley over and over and over again, holy shit, has that become a running gag? That's gone. And then from somebody like Spoonie, especially, Spoonie has just shown himself to be an absolute reprehensible shitbag.
Well, the thing is, a lot of these people didn't understand. James Rolfe basically created the template for this kind of review of Angry Video Game Nerd. But Rolfe did and had a few qualities that these people didn't. Number one, Rolfe was actually a professional filmmaker. He actually went to film school. He understands the technicals of filmmaking, where a lot of these guys were just, amateurs, there's nothing wrong with that. But having a professional advantage is, having professional training is an advantage, number one. That's why he has staying power. Number two, Rolfe made it clear from the beginning that, the AVGN, the Angry Video Game Nerd, is just a character. It's not a reflection of who he is. The whole idea of the Angry Video Game Nerd is supposed to be deliberately absurd. You have this grown man who's playing children's games while drinking beer and swearing. That's supposed to be funny. That's supposed to be a sort of a commentary on things. With guys like the guys who follow them, they didn't grasp that distinction, and as a result, it really comes out in their work, particularly their later work. Spoonie, perfect example, the Ultima series, by the time we get to Ultima 9, he's play acting at having a mental breakdown, but it's not play acting. He's actually having the breakdown. He's actually, he cannot keep his emotions in check. And of course, with his utter ruination right now, we see basically that estimation we saw years ago was right all along.
Yeah, he's lost his shit. He's not I said this numerous times, and Spoonie's not a well man, and he hasn't been for a very long time. But beyond that, even he's a reprehensible shithead. And something else James Rolfe always did that was smart. James Rolfe kept his personal life personal. I have been a fan of James Rolfe's stuff for years now. And it wasn't, I think it was sometime last year was the first time I heard he was married and had a child. He was doing some channel update where he talks about plans for the next year of content. And, I'm going to be doing this. I'm not going to be doing that this much. And then, obviously there's cons, blah, blah, blah. And he said, not only that, but I have a young daughter. And I'm like, I didn't even know the fucker was married. And he has a wife and daughter because he has a certain separation between his work and his life. You'll notice James Rolfe doesn't have a Twitter account. The AVGN doesn't even have a Twitter account. Cinemassacre has a Twitter account. His business has a Twitter account. He's not on Twitter all the time running his mouth, alienating chunks of his fans with his fucking views. Somebody mentions Brad Jones in the chat. Brad Jones is another one that I think is very professional. I think Brad Jones is very talented. I think he's very professional. I think he doesn't strike me as a shitbag. I think he has the potential to go the distance.
Well, like I said, he's been around for a long time too, and he's been consistently putting out content. And I like some of his stuff from time to time. I'm not too big into the exploitation shtick, but he does it well,
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's times when he's reviewing movies that I got to tap out. It's I'm sorry, James. I love your stuff. I can't watch this one. Like holy shit, dude, the stuff you find.
But some of the nostalgic stuff he did years ago was funny. Like he reviewed the Deep Throat energy drink, which is an actual thing that exists. And the one video he did was funny. He was like he was apparently a big fan of Crystal Pepsi, and he somehow managed to track down like a vintage like 6-pack of Crystal Pepsi that was like 15 years old. And he drank it on air. That was funny. And he was like, holy shit, the taste is gone. It's like drinking tonic water.
He did a review of that Oogie Loves kid movie that came out a couple years ago. That's fucking hilarious. By the way, Ian McDonald puts a Discord server in the chat for that he apparently made. It's called, maybe Luke, you can even throw it up here. It's called the Bechtloffian Party of Fat Ass Redheads. So that's apparently a Discord chat that you fans can join. I don't really use Discord, so I don't really know nothing about it. But there it is. So
basically, Bechtloff is now officially planning to dox and ruin people. And also, please respond.
Academics, please respond. we're gonna run some ops from this Discord channel.
Redheads, please respond.
Yeah, redheads, please respond. Gingers, please respond. Yeah, so I can't really comment on that, but that might be something y'all want to check out. If
I just joined, so you're free to harass me over there.
All right. So yeah, a lot of like out of the channel awesome people, I will occasionally watch a Doug video. There's been a few in the last few years I think have been good. I'll watch Brad Jones from time to time. I'll watch Phaelus and Lupa from time to time. That's it out of them. There was a guy named Mike J, I think, who used to do a show called Shameful Secrets. He would always start off each episode by saying like, "Hello, I'm a British person," and he was
that was funny.
His review of the 3 Fred movies is fucking hilarious. But I haven't caught any of his stuff in forever, so I couldn't tell you. He was
one of the few guys who, like, a lot of these guys just really irritatingly imitated what Doug Walker was doing, which was, so you had like an entire site full of Doug Walker clones. He sort of did that, but like he actually was one of the few who actually put his own original spin on it.
Well, the one funny video I saw him do, Lupa did a review of this movie series called Witchcraft, right? Which is this direct-to-DVD schlock, or direct-to-video, when it first came out, schlock horror movie series that was just full of tits and bullshit. And there was like literally like 13 movies in this fucking series or something. So she's reviewing a bunch of them, and she gets to one of the ones in the middle, and she has Mike J come on because he's the Shameful Sequel guy, right? And they're doing this crossover video, and he's like, "What do you want me to say? I don't know what the fuck Witchcraft is. How am I supposed to comment on Witchcraft 7?" And she's just like, "Oh, just watch." And this movie is just full of wall-to-wall tits, right? And at first he's just watching it like all excited, and she's kind of like smiling, laughing. And then he just sort of, after a while, like the smile disappears off of his face, and he goes, "God damn it, you evil bitch. I'm bored with tits now. I hope you're happy."
That's why you should review Salo.
Yeah, I don't think I'm doing that.
Ask Aaron Clary how Salo was. How much he enjoyed it.
Okay. I'll have to ask him. I'm the guy who explained what the fuck tentacle porn was to Aaron Clary, so he's like, "That's not a real thing." Oh, you. Luke is throwing up quite a number of gingers up there. That's just lovely. All right. So let's see. Those are kind of the 3 big topics: the channel awesome implosion, the shooter, the doxing. Matt, did you want to talk about the Hungarian election?
Yeah. Well, actually, first, one random question. Like, this is semi-related to channel awesome. what race is Pat the NAX punk supposed to be? Like, he looks like a is he white? Like, I don't know why. This always perplexed me for some reason. He looks
I
like
don't know.
He kind of looks like a male Emma Gonzalez.
He does look a little Hispanic, but not totally. I don't know. I don't know what he is.
I just had to ask that because I have no idea. I mean, he doesn't seem like a bad guy, but I've never really watched any of his content.
In fact, he tells a story on his thing about how, he was rejected from Channel Awesome in a very unprofessional way, which is funny because he'll be around longer than Channel Awesome most likely. But I mean, the guy's videos are funny. He seems like a super nice guy. He put out that that guide to the NES library book, which is he actually contributed a very useful resource to the retro gaming scene beyond just stupid videos. You know what I mean?
You mean he wrote a book about a classic video games and he didn't spend every other page whining about his life?
Yeah, exactly. He didn't make it. He didn't low-key attempt to get you to read his fucking life story in this book.
Including the harrowing story about how he moved out of his parents' house at the tender age of 31.
Yeah, he seems like a really a great guy. I wish him nothing but the best. And I met him at cons a couple of times, and he was nothing but professional to me. In fact, the first time I met him, I got him to sign the NES Guide book, and it was the weekend before the 2016 election. And I just remember because I was wearing a Trump hat at the con, and I don't know what Pat's politics are. Maybe he's, I don't know what they are at all. But he was like, oh, the election's coming up. I'm sure you're very excited. He made small talk about it, and yet I still didn't know what his politics were. He was just the utmost professionalism about him. You know what I mean? If you would have gone to try and get Lindsay Ellis to sign something at a con, and you're wearing a Trump hat,
she would have blown her rape. She'd
blown
her rape horn and get you escorted out of the
exactly.
from the con.
So yeah, the guy just seems really professional, really switched on. And that NES library guide, if you're at all interested in retro games, you should check out that book. It's just fantastic. It's a guide to all 800 plus games that were released on the NES between 85 and 95. Fantastic stuff. But anyways, you were saying about the Hungarian election.
Oh, yeah. Hungary votes tomorrow, or technically it already is tomorrow here. But basically, this is relevant for a number of reasons. Viktor Orban is seeking a fourth term in office, third non-consecutive term, to keep the migrants from invading Europe. In case you recall, Hungary was the country that, after getting inundated with Muslim rapists 3 years ago, built a southern border wall to keep them from entering the country, which worked because I don't see any fucking migrants ever. The only minorities I see are Asians, Japanese tourists, which is a good thing because they spend a lot of money and they occasionally get hit by cars, but that's their problem. Anyway, Viktor Orban he sort of laid the template for what would continue with Trump and what's going on in the U.S. right now. A populist nationalist revolt against multiculturalism and globalism, among other things. I'm getting tongue tied here. The Viktor Orban has wounded down. I'm losing it. He's worked to reduce the influence of Soros-funded NGOs in the country. He's gilded the judiciary, so they basically do what he tells them to do. Worth reminding every time one of Trump's initiatives gets stopped by some lower court fucking hack, who's clearly agglomerating power that the founding fathers never intended the judiciary to hold. Let's see. He's done this. He's done that. He's also resisted the EU in their attempts to basically turn every country in Europe into a multicultural mud soup. It's great. It's great stuff. This is why he deserves to get another a third term, and he most likely will get it because the opposition in the country is completely fragmented. There's Jobbik, which is basically literally a cuck party. Both metaphorically and literally. Metaphorically, they used to be like the far right super nationalist. They were for people who thought Viktor Orban was too left wing. Now they've gone to the left in an attempt to maintain relevance. And they're also literal cucks because I know for a fact that several of their major that their officials here in Budapest like going to swingers clubs. I wish I was making that up. There are also strippers. I knew a stripper who was a card-carrying member of Jobbik, the Nationalist Party. Yeah, things get funky over here now.
Well, we have a party over here in America where the guy in charge of it fucked his mother-in-law. I mean, we're known for some wild times over here too.
Yeah, Lucas doing a good job putting the pictures up here. That guy on the left is Gabor Vona. He's the leader of Jobbik, and the guy on the right is Gergely Karaksony. He's the joint prime ministerial candidate of the Socialist Party and then the Parbezed Dialogue Party. Basically, there are two parties that are running on the same electoral list, so they don't compete against each other. The socialists are, well, they're fucking socialists. They're the continuation of the communists who ruled Hungary during the Cold War. Lovely. And Parbezed is just your typical green liberal party. And there are the other major parties would be like, the Democratic Coalition, which is headed by this disgusting bug man named Ferenc Gyurcsány, who is basically Hillary Clinton with a dick. He's the Hillary Clinton of Hungary. Everyone hates him, yet he somehow, won't go away because he has this one small core of fanboys that are always sucking his dick. There's the LMP party, Politics Can Be Different, which is headed by this MILF named Bernadette Zell, who pretends to be above politics, but is in actuality a far left activist. I wish some of my Hungarian friends were awake and watching this. This is beautiful. And then there's finally the Momentum Party, which is headed by this ridiculous soy boy who does the soy grin. Seriously, Andres Fegete Gyur, who basically lived abroad most of his life and now basically wants to. His party platform consists of tranny sex, gay sex, and tearing down the border wall. And I'm not making any of that up. It's a tranny sex Antifa party. Yeah, Hungary's funny, yeah. Right now, the real question is not whether Orban will win a fourth term tomorrow. It's how big a majority that he will get. If Fidesz, his party, can get at least 2/3 of the votes, they will be able to modify the constitution, which is a good thing because we can finally, I don't know, maybe outlaw these parties. That would be perfectly fine with me. But yeah, that's the Hungarian election. I fully expect there will be some sort of like massive protest by the Soros opposition, and the media will lie and claim that Orban stole the election or some shit like that. But yeah, stay tuned. By the way, I will be doing a live stream tomorrow afternoon on this at 1 p.m. Eastern. That is when the polls close in Hungary. So and I may or may not have some super special guests for you. Because they might either be drunk from celebrating, or they might be just drunk from dousing their tears. So yeah, check out my channel tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, for live coverage of the Hungarian election.
Sweet. All right. Well, that was pretty much the big topics I wanted to cover. So I'm just gonna bullshit about some nerd stuff for a while. Okay, so I've been playing the hell out of Breath of the Wild, right? And literally, in fact, let me send Luke some pictures. These aren't screen caps of my gameplay, by the way. These are just net pictures because I'm retarded. I don't know how to screen cap my gameplay. I mean, I can screen cap it on the Switch. I just don't know how to connect it to the fucking internet right now, or my computer right now. Anyways, Luke, I threw you some pictures. So I found out there's a spot where you can get a skeleton horse, right? And I was so excited, and I carefully planned to get this fucking horse, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, I gotta snipe out I gotta kill the guardians that are close to it. I gotta get to this one spot, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna get me this skeleton horse. And there's ranches or stables nearby. They're scattered throughout the game where you can board horses. Once you board a horse, it's yours. You can retrieve it at any one of the ranches. So, and the skeleton horses look pretty badass. Anyways, I was so excited. I'm like, all right, so I got this fucking, so there's skeleton versions of various monsters in the game. And so there's a skeleton version of the goblin at night riding it. So I snipe him off the damn horse, get on the horse, You know, I soothe it so that it's tame. And, you know, it's okay with me. Like, all right, now I just got to get over to the fucking stable. And I was so fucking excited to get over to the damn stable. And it won't let you register the horse. Like, it actually, like, the game's actually, it's as a smart in-universe fucking explanation. Like, the guys are like, I can't board that thing here. It'll eat the other horses. Because, you know, I mean, you are walking around on an Udden abomination, you know, animated by dark magic. But all in all, that game's fantastic. I really do love it. I'm going to get it. I mean, I haven't even gotten any of the fucking Divine Beast done yet. Like, that's, I have not done almost any of the story stuff. And it really is fantastic. I can't, like, that game deserved all that Game of the Year praise it got last year. It alone is basically worth the price of the Switch. Hell, I even, Aaron Clary went ahead and picked up the game, a Switch of that game because of my recommendation. I mean, and you know, Aaron Clary hates everything, and even he's all like, "This is fantastic." But yeah, I have to say, I'm very offended by the racism that the stable owner showed my poor horse. You know, just because it's an undead abomination animated by dark unholy magic, you're not willing to let me register my horse. That's bullshit. There's some other, like, I haven't been able to get it yet, but there's some like horse that's like made of like white energy or something that you can supposedly get, and like it you can actually register supposedly, but I haven't managed to get it. But yeah, it's cool design on it, man. Like, I remember how excited it was when I first saw it, because there's a place right in front of the castle that's basically the ruins of Lon Lon Ranch from Ocarina of Time. And there's goblins riding around on horses during the day, and at night there's fucking skeletons on skeleton horses. And I was so excited when I first saw that fucking skeleton horse. Because I was like, okay, I'm making the plan to get that, but you can't keep it. Somebody in the chat says, want to make a good game? Sexy elves, skeletons, and violence with good AI.
How big is Breath of the Wild? I mean, you've been just been doing the open world thing for ever since you got it.
Yeah, and I got it basically right after Christmas. Well, let me put it this way: the Great Plateau, where you start out on, which is sort of it's first of all, it's one of the greatest design tutorial levels in the history of gaming. It's up there with the intro level in Mega Man X as far as just incredible design that organically teaches you how to play the game. But that alone is maybe, I'd say, between 5 to 10% of the map, and it's probably as big as the entirety of Ocarina of Time.
Oh, damn.
So
I never actually played any of the Zelda games. I mean, does it have RPG elements, or is it just like just simple adventuring, going around killing shit?
It's more adventuring. You can get weapons, but you don't. Now, some Zelda games have had more RPG elements. You can't really. You could sort of level yourself up in that you can increase your stamina and life meters, your hearts and your stamina. But that's basically the only leveling up of yourself you do. Other than that, it's just getting better gear.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, it's got some RPG elements in that regard. I mean, just and leveling yourself up is easy. You just find shrines, complete the little mini dungeons in them, and you get a spirit orb. And when you have 4 spirit orbs, you can trade it for either an increase, another heart container, or an increase in your stamina wheel. And you need an increase in stamina because you climb everywhere in this game. In fact, you can't climb when it's raining. So rain is like your most annoying enemy. But yeah, it's fantastic, man. Like I said, I have. Oh, go ahead, Luke. What are you playing there?
Okay to be cis, trans, dead, alive, queer, Schrodinger, because death is a beautiful spectrum.
Maybe I just.
I don't know what that was referring to. But yeah, it's really good. Somebody says, yeah, you can upgrade your gear. Actually, when you have like different sets of armor and shit, certain Great Fairy fountains will actually upgrade the stats on it. if you have enough raw material for them to be able to do it.
Yeah. It sounds like you make the game sound really, really damn fun, and kind of making me wish I could, I had a Switch so I could play it.
Well, let me put it this way. I have 4 games on the Switch right now. I have Sonic Mania downloaded. I have Mario Odyssey, and I have Mario and Rabbids. And all of them are good games, but I've barely touched them. Because basically every time I pick this up, I'm playing Breath of the Wild. Sonic Mania, I mean, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is like probably my favorite game ever. And Sonic Mania is just more of that. And I still barely touch it in favor of Breath of the Wild. Like, I will probably be either have beaten it or be close to beating this game before I give it enough of a rest to even delve into the other games I have.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, like I said, I've never played any of the Zelda games. The closest thing I came to playing one of the Zelda games was the original Blood Omen Legacy of Kain got compared to Zelda a lot. Because it sounds like the same kind of thing. You got your sword going around an open world area. You're exploring dungeons. You're killing people. You're getting better gear. I played the shit out of that game when it was new. But
well, it's far more open world than most. Like it tries to be a spiritual successor to the very first one on the NES. In that it's just the first one in the NES. It's like the first screen. You go into a cave. Here's a sword. Go do some shit with the sword, and then you're given no other direction beyond that. Wander around, do shit, and that's sort of how. Now the Great Plateau is arguably a bit more hand-holding, the tutorial level area, and you can't get off of it till you get the paraglider, and that's when you do the first 3 shrines in there. But like I said, it's in a very good way where it's like if you could just quickly do the shrines if you wanted, or you could just explore the Great Plateau and let it teach you a lot about the game. That said, though, there are people that have ran this game and beat it in 40 minutes. Because as soon as you're off the Great Plateau, you can just make a beeline for the castle and be like, come on, Ganon, you pig-faced faggot, come fight me.
No. Well, I like that element of the game as well. It's like, the original Fallout can be it's a huge expansive RPG world, all these places explored. You can speedrun and beat it in less than 20 minutes if you know what you're doing. I like the ability to do something like that, but also the ability to explore and stuff. And that's something you don't really see in games these days, Just, hey, here's a world. Go explore. Go fend for yourself. We'll teach you the basics of what you need to do, and then let your imagination run wild. It's all this hand-holding with, instant takedown buttons and cutscenes and quick-time events.
Well, one of my favorite things to do in a game is to poke around in areas I probably shouldn't be at yet. Whenever there's any kind of open world exploration, like I've already poked around the castle a great deal, and it's actually useful because you can get some really good weapons in there. I love just exploring, just going where I probably shouldn't even be going yet, and that's why I haven't done that much in the way of story missions in it. Like, in fact, for a while. Because again, when you reach a shrine, when you first activate the shrine, it becomes a teleportation point. Like you can fast travel to that point. And then you do the shrine and you get your spirit orb. Well, for a while there, I was like still only having like 5 hearts. Because every time I got to a shrine, I was like, okay, I'll do that later. Let me go explore some more. Since I've got sort of a fast travel point from there. You know what I mean? And then finally, one day I just sat down. I was like, no. Come on. You need to get yourself some more hearts. All right, sit down and do your homework, as it were. Just do the fucking shrines already. But yeah, I just love exploring. I just love poking around and just, it's a blast. It really is. I mean, you could spend a very, very long time on this game if you wanted, or you could beat it in a hurry if that's the way you want to play it.
Yeah, I mean, I love that element of the game where you can just basically stretch the gameplay mechanics to their fullest and do all sorts of kooky shit. Like on my YouTube and Twitch channel for the past couple of weeks, I've been streaming Deus Ex, which is one of my favorite games of all time because it lets you do shit like this. Deus Ex is a game where when you first report to where your character is working, and if you go off exploring in every nook and cranny or whatever, if you go into the woman's restroom, there's a woman in there who will actually yell at you. And then when you go talk to your boss later to get debriefed, he'll actually tell you, don't go in the women's restroom, you fucking weirdo. and then that woman will fucking will treat you weird for the rest of the game because of it. That was pretty mind blowing. Back when I played that in 2002. So,
well, another thing I found really interesting is that the story of this is that you know Link wakes up in this restoration chamber because there's a lot of like magic tech strung around. You know, like this technology that like harnesses this magic energy. And you wake up in this restoration chamber, and of course you don't have your memory because JRPG. But you've been healing in this chamber for 100 years after your last battle with Ganon, and Zelda is in the castle still using her magic to keep Ganon there, but she can only do it for so long, and that's why if you don't get it over there and stop him, eventually he'll break out. But what's interesting is like because you don't have your memory, there's sort of a side mission where you go to certain points, and from there you're able to like certain points on the map you can find where it'll trigger a memory flashback, and these are cutscenes that just sort of tell the backstory of it. And these and you can enjoy these cutscenes in any order because obviously people are going to find these in all sorts of odd orders. But even that telling the story, they do it in a very organic way. They make it a fetch quest, so it's kind of fun to find them. And B, it's just these little snippets of memory you get that paint a picture, piece by piece. The game's just really fucking good. It alone is worth having that system for. I've heard people complain the voice acting isn't really good. I don't know where they're coming from on that. I think the voice acting's fine. Well, I actually really like Zelda's voice acting in it, actually.
Well, is anyone really playing a Zelda game for the plot? I mean,
well, again, the plot is interesting in that it helps you. In other words, the plot is presented to you as yet another way to explore the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like so far as I know, the Zelda games basically all have the same plot. Zelda has been kidnapped by Ganon. You got to go stop Ganon. It's like the Mario games. Fucking Bowser's up to no good. Go rescue the princess from the castle.
This one's got a lot of different twists on it that haven't been in Zelda games before. But yeah, it's the same. Ganon's a dick. Go stop Ganon. That's the plot.
That's all the motivation you need.
Yeah, Ganon's an asshole. Go kick his ass. Like that's the plot.
Yeah, keep it. It's a winning formula. It's worked for 20 years now.
Yeah. Come on, you pig face faggot. But yeah, in fact, I was poking around the castle and accidentally got to one of Ganon's forms. And I didn't even mean to. And that's the other thing, much like the original Zelda, it's very easy to go into areas you're not ready for yet, and you'll get your shit pushed in when you're first playing the game.
Oh, that's always fun too. It's like a nice linear progression that makes sense, skill possession, but at the same time, throwing you a curveball every so often is fun too. Like at the beginning of Fallout New Vegas, you're actually, it's technically an open world game, but it sort of guides you down into a certain path just because you're told that in the first town, hey, don't go north of here. And it's like, well, if you go north, what will happen is that you'll encounter these gigantic fucking mutant butterflies that kill you in one hit because they're level 15 and you're just level 1. But yeah, that option is just fucking fun. I like that shit. Hell, there were like points in playing Fallout New Vegas. Like I'm about like I'm level like 5 or 6 or something, and I'm going to the town that if Davis was here, he'd correct me. The town that the Kaisar's Legion has burned out, like near Prim, and I see a giant rat scorpion, and I'm like, oh, rat scorpions were easy to deal with in Fallout 3. I'll just go kill that motherfucker. Then I discover my little pea shooter does nothing against it, and it's super fast, and it comes up and it kills me in 3 stings. I'm like, well, what's that doing there? It's obviously too high level. And I realize, oh, right. The quest is to fucking avoid it, not to fight it. I'll fight it when I have better equipment and I'm higher level.
There's one monster in Breath of the Wild I have not taken down yet, and that's the Lynels. And I guess I kind of have because like you can get these things called ancient arrows, which are like the magic tech arrows. And they will kill most things in one hit. But I've managed to kill Lionels with those. But there's actually a fucking side mission where I need, like, usually when you kill a monster, you get like parts from it, like horns and guts and shit like that you can sell or whatever. Well, I need a fucking Lionel hoof for this one side mission. But when you shoot it with an ancient arrows are so powerful it vaporizes the monster. But Lionels they're really, really tough, and they have really, really good AI. Like, you have to basically just get in there and fight them. You can't do any cheap tactics like you tend to do early in the game when you're weak. Like, find a good vantage point and spam bombs or arrows or something. You can't do that with Lionels. They don't fall for that shit. You have to get in there and fight them. You got to fight them like a man. And they are ball busters. Everything else in that game I've managed to kill at least once, multiple times. But those things, man, holy shit, man. I mean, I can't even kill the pussy red versions of them. Somebody says Lionels are harder than bosses. They are. Again, though, I can kill them with ancient arrows. It's just one fucking shot. But they're and the AI on them is so good. Like, I was up near one of them one time, and I'm just staring at him, and he's just staring at me, and he didn't move to attack until I pulled out my sword. It was like the movie Predator. Like, it had a sense of honor. Yeah, but absolutely great game. I can't recommend it enough. There's a lot of great stuff on the Switch. There's a lot of games on the Switch I still want to get. That I'm just, there's a new Kirby game coming out. There's a Bomberman game on it I want. Mario Kart 8. There's going to be a new Smash Brothers by the end of the year. I'm very happy with the Switch. And interestingly enough, I have not hooked it up to a TV yet. That's the other cool thing about the Switch is the amount of ways you can play with it. Like, you could set it on a table as a tablet and use a controller. You could put the Switch cons on the end of it and use it as a portable system, or you can hook it up to a TV and use it as a controller. Now, I don't even have a TV in my room, so I've just been using it as a portable thing the whole time I've had it. But it's very cool that it gives you all those options. Yeah, I highly recommend getting a Switch. I know it's, just, Matt, if you ever get a Switch, just promise me you won't take an open-mouthed, slack-jawed faggot picture with it when you open it up. Like this, enough people have done that, damn it. You're making the rest of us look bad.
Now I'll take a picture of my girlfriend playing it in her lingerie.
Take a picture of you with your mouth open, like, look what my wife's boyfriend bought me.
Well, I'm moving out of here soon, so I might be able to get this set up when I'm in Ukraine. So, oh geez.
All right, what else did I want to talk about? Ooh, I know what I want to talk about. This is an interesting little thing, and I don't think I've covered it on this channel before. Let me bring up the I want to bring up the little post that talks about it. I talked about it on Gab. I retweeted something on Gab about it. Come on. A lot of you may have heard of this. It was something that happened in television in the 70s called the Rural Purge. And I've heard about it a little bit too, but it's just something I was thinking about this week. So I figured it was worth a little bit of talking about.
Sounds like a really shitty Purge sequel.
So,
wait, I'm being redundant.
That's true. All right, Luke, you can bring up these screen caps. I think it's a Wikipedia article on it. Okay, so this is this guy tweeted it or whatever the hell you call it on Gab. But the Rural Purge, I think this is off of Wikipedia, of American television networks, in particular CBS, was a series of cancellations in the early 1970s of still popular rural-themed shows with demographically skewed audiences, the majority of which occurred at the end of the 70 to 71 television series. In addition to rural-themed shows, The Purge also eliminated highly rated variety shows that have been on CBS since the beginning of the television broadcasting. One of the earliest efforts at channel drift, CBS in particular saw a dramatic change in direction with the shift, moving away from shows with rural themes and towards ones with supposedly more appeal to urban and suburban audiences. Starting with The Real McCoys, a 1957 ABC program, U.S. television had undergone a rural revolution, a shift towards situation comedies featuring naive but noble rubes from deep in the American heartland. CBS was the network most associated with the trend, with series such as The Andy Griffin Show, Beverly Hillbillies, Green Acres, Mr. Ed, Lassie, Petticoat Junction, and Hee Haw. CBS aired so many of these rural-themed shows, many of which were produced by Filmways, that it gained the nickname the Country Broadcasting System. Another nickname was Hillbilly Network, a play on the network's original self-proclaimed nickname of the Tiffany Network. By 1966, industry executives were lamenting the lack of diversity in American television offerings and the dominance of rural-oriented programming on all of the big three television networks of the era, noting that ratings indicated that the American public preferred hillbillies, cowboys, and spy shows. The purge was instigated by CBS executive Robert Wood, who replaced longtime CBS programming head Michael Dean with Fred Silverman. Following research highlighting the greater attraction to advertisers of the young adult urban viewer demographic. Much of the CBS existing product either drew audiences that were too old and rural or drew another undesirable demographic, young boys. And then there's a screen cap that says early life and career. Silverman was born in New York City, the son of a Jewish father and Roman Catholic mother. Not shocking. So this guy, Cornelius Rye, gabbed this out. And he said something to the effect of, or here he goes, no matter how much I think about the Jewish question, I'm still surprised to learn more. The rural purge was a conscious decision by TV companies to get rid of highly popular and profitable TV shows in the 70s that were geared towards rural audiences. White Christian executives were replaced by Jewish executives, and TV shows were axed as a way to continue civil rights revolutions they had started and to move public sympathies and endearments away from rural Christian whites. Now, I know a lot of people have probably, you might have heard of this. I know Anti-Dem talks about it a lot. But I remember as a kid, I watched a lot of old shows. I watched reruns in Nick at Night and shit like that. So I'm reasonably familiar with the history of television well before my time. There were a lot of very old shows that I watched religiously as a kid. I loved, the 60s Batman show. Reruns of Get Smart were one of my favorite shows ever as a kid. And there's a ton of other older programs I just watched reruns of on cable and shit like that. A Gilligan's Island, bullshit like that. And it is interesting that there were a lot of these sorts of shows back then, and they just stopped making them all of a sudden. Now, for the longest time, I just assumed that was just the natural flow of, society. Trends change, tastes change, what have you. But no, there's been a lot of deliberate moves in society. There's been a lot of, you always heard Hollywood argue that, they went with this or that trend because it made money, or it's what the people wanted. And it turns out a lot of those religious right guys turned out to be true, that no, this was deliberate moves on their part. They weren't just responding to the desires of the audience. They were producing propaganda.
Well, that's evident in other things as well. I mean, to go for porn, for example, if porn was entirely driven by what the audience wanted, there would be no interracial porn at all because nobody watches it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know if nobody watches it. There's a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters.
Well, the audience is much, much smaller than the amount.
Yeah, it's very obviously pushed well beyond where it's profitable. And there was even an ROK article, Return of Kings article, where they talked about that. And they talked about how that site black.com has tremendously high production values. Like, I mean, look, we've all seen pictures of it, if for nothing else than the fact that people make funny memes out of them. And it's well done porn. There's no way around it. There's reasonably high production values on that fucking porn, and I guarantee you that it's much higher than it's profitable to do. For something that is a niche that not that many people, in our still mostly white fucking country, not that many people want to see a dindu screw a white woman.
Yeah, and you see this in movies as well. Hollywood is perfectly willing to leave money on the table if that money would be earned by pushing values that they find contrary, white, Christian, pro-Christian values. Like, why do you think Mel Gibson made so much money off of The Passion of the Christ? Because no Hollywood studio wanted to touch a story of Jesus Christ. So he made it himself, and he made all the money because he was fulfilling a need that was there, a market that was deliberately being underserved.
How many times have I talked about, what's going on with superhero comics right now, and that, people like superheroes right now, and both Marvel and especially Marvel, but to a lesser extent DC, are leaving money on the table by not making superhero comics people want to read. And it's the same on TV. No, like everybody talks about how everybody's leaving TV. Nobody's watching TV anymore. People still like it watching TV shows. It's just that they don't make any good ones. People didn't throw out their TVs because they decided TV is for faggots. They just decided there's nothing on this anymore. People still like being entertained. Somebody says the picture Luke is posting is going to trigger some people. But yeah, look at that picture. Like those are some pretty good-looking girls right there. All right, they certainly don't look like that buzz-cut lesbian choking on apples. Like that looks like it's really well-made porn. The fuck. There's good. What do you call it? What the hell?
Production values.
Production values. That's well done photography. Okay, and I guarantee you more money is being poured into that than is being made. That is way better production values than a niche form of pornography should have. That's like Hustler and Playboy in the 90s level of production values.
Yeah, look at the what Luke just put up, the most searched for terms. Look what isn't there. There's no interracial on that. You have ebony, but that could just as easily. I believe that's the term, for like white guys having sex with black women.
Yeah, I think ebony is referring to the girls.
Yeah. Oh, there's black at the bottom, but it's at the bottom. It's above squirt and
even black, I would say, is probably just like ebony. It's looking for black girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting lesbian scissoring. That's an interesting little chart. And yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, some people are going to want to watch it. That's, but there's no reason. Like, I remember when I watched porn a lot 10 years ago, and yeah, there were like interracial sites back then. There was that Spring Thomas site. There was a chick that she just did interracial. That was like her gimmick. And I mean, she was nothing to look at. I mean, she was okay. It's very clear if you ever look at a picture of her why she needed a gimmick. Well, she wasn't as hot as these three girls. I can say that right there.
I'm kind of ashamed to admit this, but I've actually seen a couple of the first shoots she did with white people, and she was actually white guys, and she was actually quite hot then.
But yeah, there was like blacks on blondes 10 years ago. But they didn't have production values like this. Like what level of fucking Soros money is getting funded into black.com? Like there's no reason it should have production values that high.
And just think about this. Somewhere in a corporate boardroom, somewhere in the world, some people actually sat down and said, yeah, we need to pour a ton of money into black.com. In order, someone actually they actually did the math and decided this was a good cultural investment.
Jeez. So somebody says research in echoes. Oh, cool. Ralph just responded to me. He said he'd like to have me on the stream sometime. Cool. I'd responded.
Ethan Ralph?
Yeah, I'd responded to I put a comment under his one video where he was shitting on Cantwell. And he's like, "Oh, thanks, man. Glad you enjoyed it. Would like to have you on sometime." That's cool. That'd be a nice little boost. Plus, Ethan seems kind of cool. I'd like to talk to him.
Oh, he's a good guy.
I've
interviewed him before.
I think he does stream Saturday, same as me. So
he does. I think Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So
he used to do Saturday, I think.
But he does them at a different time. He does them at 11 p.m. Eastern. So.
But yeah, and if on the off chance he's listening, you're always welcome on here too. So. But yeah, I just thinking about, and here's the thing: like, I don't really like rural themed stuff that much. I'm much more of a rootless cosmopolitan than a lot of you folks. I live in a very rural area, but I feel like I feel like a foreigner in a strange land in this rural area. I'm very happy to be here because I know it's where I want to be if shit hits the fan. But
so what you're saying is you're not into sports ball?
No, I'm not. I'm very happy to live amongst these rednecks, but I'm not one of them. I'm probably much more happier walking around New York City half the time.
You're not into sports ball, and you're not into cow tipping?
Nope. But it doesn't change the fact that, as much as they try to keep so much of this stuff in the ghetto, like country music is still one of the biggest forms of music in this country. And it's kept in like this weird ghetto where nobody in the rest of the music industry will touch it kind of thing for the most part.
Whereas hip hop is constantly pushed, even though frankly, a lot of corporate hip hop does not make that much money.
Yeah.
I mean, there are hip hop acts that are like drill, for example, drill rap from Chicago. The corporate media ignored that for the longest time because it was too raw and too real for them. Because the music is literally made by gangs of Dindus rapping about the dudes they killed on their last heist, and they're flashing around illegal firearms in their Chicago townhouses, and the police don't do anything. Luke, Google Rondo number 9 rocket launcher for an example of what I'm talking about.
Ian McDonald in
Actually,
chat.
I'll just send you the picture.
Ian McDonald in the chat says the creator of Black.com is known for doing fetish sites. He created Tushy.com, which is known for anal.
Oh wow, anal sex. There's another. Again, how much native demand was there for native anal sex among straight people?
In all fairness, it's one of those things where I got to look back and wonder, like, was that something that was just kind of programmed in me by watching porn at a young age or something? Because I got to admit, like, my high school sweetheart and I took her around the world quite a few times. We partook of that from time to time. But is it just something I felt like trying because I saw it in porns?
Well, I can say confidently as a kid, like, I never had a desire to stick it in a girl's butthole.
Well, I mean, I was enough of a horny fucker that I had a desire to basically let's do everything.
I mean, by the time I was a teenager, I did have that urge, but I'm pretty sure it came to me from watching porn. I mean, a lot of our sexual desires are programmed into us from porn. I mean, like coming on a girl's face, for example. That's from porn.
I don't know about that. That just seems naturally fun to me. I think I got to fight you on that one.
I'm not saying it's not fun. I mean, I'm
just saying. I mean, maybe porn gave me the idea, but I'm pretty sure I immediately thought that's a great idea.
Well, it's on a different level than, say, anal sex. Anal sex is, the appeal of anal sex when like 10 years ago was like that. It was still taboo. It's like, ooh, yeah, we'll do it in the butt. We're really putting our thumb in God's eye then, But now it's like when kids are fucking in a world of furries and bug chasing, anal sex is boring.
It's honestly, it's one of those things where like it. Look, I mean, morally speaking, I don't think you should be having any sex with anyone but your spouse. Okay. And I know I'm the last guy to throw stones in the glass house that I'm in because I'm hardly a virgin. Okay. But in all fairness, I also wasn't a Christian when I was a young man. But that said, if a husband and wife, if once in a while you want to screw in the ass or something, I don't know. I'm hard pressed to throw stones at you for that. There's obviously health concerns if you do it too much. But that aside, I'm pretty sure
I think your wife deserves to keep her ability to not defecate all over the place.
Well, I really don't think you're going to destroy her fucking guts doing it, fucking her in the ass one time. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're just packing an extraordinary amount there, Forney. I don't know if you got a fucking Pringles can between your legs. All right.
Well, I am Italian after all.
I don't think occasional anal sex is going to destroy a girl like that. I mean, if occasional anal sex was enough to destroy an asshole, I'm pretty sure Milo Yiannopoulos would just have a string of shit following him everywhere he walks. Just leaving a fucking trail. Because that's the thing. When you read these stories, when we bring out the retard sex stories of the guy who, like that one faggot who had like 3 different cases of fucking worms from eating ass too much. You got to remember that's somebody who's doing this constantly. Like, it's not like he did this one time and got fucking worms, okay? And likewise, these fucking girls who are like, oh, I'm incontinent now because of too much anal sex. It's not like, oh, it was, our anniversary and I let my husband screw me in the ass one time. No, you're taking several cocks up there, all right? You're letting the basketball team run a train on you every Friday night. Somebody in the chat said, John Steele in the chat says, coming on a girl's face is life affirming. It's been my experience. Most girls don't like that. I mean, I've dated some freaky girls. I've dated girls that have no problem with you fucking them in the ass, and still they didn't want you to come on their face.
That's not as common, but anymore. But I think that is kind of a good thing because girls who give blowjobs don't want to come on the face. Like, bitch, do you realize that you do understand the natural conclusion of what you're doing, right? It's like, yeah, cum is gross. Now, pardon me while I take the organ, yet you pee out of it, put it in my mouth.
Well, I've even been with girls that don't mind swallowing. They just don't want you to come on their face. And I don't. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the problem is there, but I mean, it's not like it reduces cleanup time. You usually already fucking got slobber all over your fucking face.
When a chick tells me where I can and can't come, my immediate instinct is to do it in her hair just to be a dick.
Well, yeah, there is that. I mean, ladies, let me give you a bit of advice, okay? If you don't want to do something with your man, don't tell him we can't do it, okay? Like, if you don't want to do anal with your man, your best bet is to just avoid the subject, okay? Like, just be giving him enough pussy he never fucking thinks to ask for door number 2, all right? Because if you say no on it, then it becomes the one thing he wants more than anything. That's just human nature, okay?
And if you keep saying no repeatedly, unprompted, he starts thinking that it's the one thing you want more than anything.
Yeah, that's just human nature, okay? You You're better off letting your man screw you in the ass one time, and then he'll probably not bother wanting to do it again.
Yeah, particularly after he realizes the ritual he has to go to, do it properly.
All right. Moving on. I think we're getting. I don't know how we went from the world purge to the retard sex. I don't know how that happened exactly, but boy, did that happen.
From the rural purge to the retard sex.
We went from discussing the cancellation of Green Acres to fucking the merits of anal sex. Rather organically. I don't know how that happened, but there it is.
Look at what Luke put up on the screen. That's great.
Oh, Lordy. What else did I want to talk about? I know. I'm gonna nerd out a little bit here, folks. Even more so than with the Breath of the Wild thing. I'm gonna talk about a little. I found this this cool Star Wars mashup art somebody did on DeviantArt, because believe it or not, there's actually really good fan art on DeviantArt. Now you have to wade through all the brony porn and disturbing Sonic the Hedgehog pictures. But you can find some really, really awesome fan art on DeviantArt. Look, there's two of them I sent to you, like Star Trek and Star Wars mashups. There's the Bulbasaur pic you did, but show the original ones. Yeah, there they are. And I thought they were really cool fan art. So my buddy that runs that comic stand that I used to run with him, I actually run the Facebook page for him because he is retarded when it comes to social media. And so that's part of the reason I look for fan art like that. It's just something to throw up on that store's Facebook page once in a while. There's the other one too with Han Solo, Luke. You can throw that one up. But I got to talking with my buddy today, and I was like, IDW should actually do a Star Wars, Star Trek. I know he mentioned it to me. He's like, IDW should do a Star Trek, Star Wars crossover comic because IDW has the Star Trek rights, and more now they're having the Star Wars rights because Disney is realizing what a trash fire Marvel is and moving its other properties away from that company, which is a whole different topic. Think about that. Disney owns a comic book company, and they won't trust that company with properties like DuckTales. That tells you something. That tells you somebody in that thing knows what the hell's going on there. But anyways, he mentioned that to me. He's like, you should do it. And I was like, I don't know if you could do that properly because, both those franchises, they span eras, as it were. I mean, like you'd have the problem of when do you even have it take place? And so we're kind of going back and forth, and I actually thought up a good idea for it, which I'm just going to share because I feel like nerding out. So, and bear in mind, I don't know a tremendous amount about Star Wars, but basically here'd be how you do the story. You start off with Q, because anytime you want to do something goofy, you have to bring Q into it. So Q is bombing around being a dick like he likes to do. And he just decides randomly, I'm going to explore other universes. I'm going to bomb around the multiverse and be a dick. How about that? So he goes to the Star Wars universe. And he goes to the Star Wars universe and he just starts being a dick to people. I don't know. He pants Darth Vader or something. He makes it rain Ewoks on a planet or something. I don't know. He's just a dick. Well, being a dick in this foreign universe where he doesn't belong is causing the fabric of reality to fray. So the Force itself is actually trying to, no pun intended, force him out of the universe. So he's actually having a direct conflict with the Force itself. And when they are directly attacking each other, it risks destroying the entire fabric of reality around them. So Q decides, okay, if you want to fight me, that's fine, but we'll fight using proxies. So basically, the entire book could just be a whole bunch of fucking fights of characters and shit from the various universes, with an actual narrative tying it together. Hell, if you wanted to promote the fuck out of it, you could do like they did with Marvel versus DC back in the 90s, and actually let people vote on the outcomes of fights. You could make a shit ton of money on that comic doing that.
Plus, we could finally settle the question of whether Captain Kirk or Luke Skywalker could win a fight.
Yeah, there you go. That's a free idea for you right there, IDW. something that would actually make money. Which I know the entertainment industry, as we just discussed, isn't fond of making money, it seems. But nonetheless, there you go. Oh, let's see. I'm going to go see what's going on in the chat. There's April O'Neil for some reason. That's fantastic. Let's see.
Zsa Zsa Gabor must have sounded funny taking it in the butt. Well, she was Hungarian. I no doubt that she really enjoyed that.
Let's see, that Mexibro is Luke during the sex talk. Somebody says, Bechtloff, have you been tongue punching the brown eye? I can honestly say I have not done that.
And neither have I, and I never will. Okay, there's anal sex, and then there's sticking your tongue where the shit comes out. That's how you get fucking. That's how you get cholera.
So he says Mark Hamill would do his Joker voice and crack up Kirk long enough to win. That's actually pretty funny. I love the open contempt Mark Hamill has for the new Star Wars movies. Like more and more, he just doesn't bother trying to hide it. Like I fully expect one interview he's just gonna be like, "Fuck these movies."
Well, they kill him off in The Last Jedi basically because he was so lukewarm about it. Which I'm sure he was grateful for because he doesn't mean he means he doesn't have to star in the shit anymore.
Oh man, those new movies are so fucking terrible. I mean, the prequels were bad, but it's just a whole different level of bad with these new movies.
I forgot this, but there's apparently a rumor that they're going to cast another actor to play Princess Leia in the next one.
I've heard that too.
I forgot who they were going to cast, but it was someone really, really, really bad.
Yeah, I can't remember either, but I remember thinking like, "Oh shit, really?"
Actually, let me Google that right now so we can laugh at it.
Somebody says Argent did a stream going over Wings of Redemption. Should probably watch that later. Ooh, yeah, that's a new locale I found. Wings of Redemption.
Oh,
it's like the Ghost of Christmas Future for DSP.
Oh, I found it. They were going to cast Meryl Streep to play Princess
that's
Leia.
what it was. Yeah. Oh, geez.
Meryl Streep. Ugh. That hasn't been in a good movie since The Deer Hunter. And even that is not that great.
Remember when Hollywood just actually made movies? Like, I miss that. I miss, like there's so much shit that it's just so bad now. You gotta... Like, there's no better example than the Ghostbusters 2016 movie. It's like they made a movie out of spite. Like, I'm not fond of the Star Trek reboots, for example. But as much as I think they fail, I never get the impression that, like, J.J. Abrams is making them out of spite. You know what I mean? I never got the expression watching Star Trek 09 that J.J. Abrams is like, "Fuck Star Trek." But you watch that Ghostbusters 2016, and you know the whole time everybody involved is like, "Fuck Ghostbusters."
Well, they literally have a scene where they throw Bill Murray out a window.
They have a scene at the end where they shoot the logo in the dick. There's a ghost that looks like the ghost in the Ghostbusters logo, and they defeat it by shooting it in the crotch with their fucking proton packs. They end the movie by shooting the logo in the dick. You can't... I couldn't think of a better metaphor than that. That movie is made out of spite. Like, as bad as the reboot Star Trek is, as bad as these new Star Wars movies are, it's just because the people making them are hacks. But there's literally times in Hollywood where you just know, like, they're just trying to fuck with you.
I know for a fact in The Last Jedi they were trying to fuck with the audience.
I think they were, actually, from what I've heard in that. I think I think at this point Star Wars has become this, like, social experiment of how bad can we make it before fans give up.
I mean, for God's sake, in the 10 minutes, there's fucking Luke Skywalker drinking blue walrus titty milk. I should have walked out there.
Supposedly Leia uses the Force to go fucking full Kryptonian fly.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. It's not supposedly, she did. She went full Mary Poppins.
Now look, I'm not gonna say there it is, shooting the logo in the dick. I'm not gonna say that nobody could use the Force to survive the vacuum of space. I'm sure that's entirely possible, but we've not seen anyone manage to do that in any of these movies so far. So
and anyone who's actually trained in it too.
Yeah, so suddenly the person that's shown no ability to use the Force yet, out of nowhere, is able to do it in a way no one else has, as far as we know, ever managed to do.
Well, you know that got
not even, from what I understand, it's not even that commented on. It's not like everyone else is shocked afterwards. How did you do that?
Yeah. You know what? That was actually put in there by committee. Actually, it was Kathleen Kennedy who's basically helming the Star Wars franchise at Disney now. She was like to the director, "We have to show because Leia is Luke's twin. We have to show her using the Force somehow." Literally, that's how that scene ended up in the movie.
I mean, I know in the original movies they reference the fact that she has potential in the Force and that kind of thing. So it's not inherently a bad idea to show her using some sort of burst of Force power in a moment of like panic and trauma or something. But still, flying through the space like fucking Superman. I mean, I know it's a movie. I know it's sci-fi fantasy, and I got to suspend my disbelief. But as I've always said with suspension of disbelief, you got to meet me halfway, movie.
Well, Luke threw up the space walrus titty, and I know what I'm going to be having nightmares about tonight.
That looks like Mark Hamill's just natural reaction to what's going on in the movie. He's just like, fuck.
Yeah, that's the thing too with this, the space walrus titty milk. They designed the tits to look like a woman's tits instead of like, udders. So it's like, some weird sort of regressed childhood thing where adult Luke is drinking from his mother's breast. It's sick and gross and weird and not funny and not appropriate. Certainly not appropriate for kids, which is what these movies were kind of sort of targeted at in the first place. Or that's been totally forgotten as well.
I don't know what these movies are targeted at now.
They're targeted at professional masochists like me.
Like, stop watching these movies, people. Like, you could sit here and call me a dork for my fucking Star Trek Star Wars crossover I just thought of. But at least that would be fun. Are you really having fun watching Luke drink blue titty milk? That's not fun at all. Somebody says these movies are targeted at those with med-resistant AIDS.
May the pause be with you.
Somebody says, I think the titty milk thing is supposed to show how far he's fallen. I think it just shows how far the franchise fell.
Pause loads.
Blue walrus titty milk. Yeah, everyone went to go see this, and nobody went to go see Blade Runner 2049, ensuring that there will never be another Blade Runner movie again. Good job, assholes. By the way, go see Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about that. I've actually meant to go see it. I just didn't get around to it. I mean, in all fairness, I very rarely get to the movies anymore.
Well, I think it was somewhat overpraised. I think Razor Fist had a point in that it was overpraised. But the thing is, Blade Runner is sort of like the opposite of Star Wars. Like, everyone who went to go see Blade Runner 2049 was assuming it was going to be complete and utter shit. And when it came out that it was actually, you know, there was effort put into it and people cared about it, you know, that just caused them to like overrate it. So I don't think it's going to age as well as the original. Well, the original is probably one of the greatest films of all time, but it's pretty damn good. Okay, it's far better than I thought it would be. I went into the theater with zero expectations. By the end, I was like, "Holy shit, this was fantastic." I mean, you know, someone like Razorfist can sort of, you know, is like, yeah, you know, go over like, yeah, it's not really noirish. You know, the aesthetic is two children of men. Yeah, true, whatever. But you know what? They had an aesthetic. They had an idea. They put it together. You know, they executed it well. I'm willing to forgive, you know, the minor flaws of it. Okay, this movie was, you know, when everyone assumed that this movie was going to be shit, and this movie could have very easily turned out to be shit, and it wasn't. Now, see, if you people had expectations like that for Star Wars, maybe we'd be able to get a good Star Wars movie one of these years.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. And I did a video where I talked about this. You know, the reason Star Wars is bad now is because of the fans. It's not Disney didn't ruin Star Wars. George Lucas didn't ruin Star Wars. You fucking fans did, because this franchise produced shitty movie after shitty movie after shitty movie, and you all just kept lining up to go see the next one, eager as could be. You know. Yeah, episode 1.
Blade Runner 2049, because apparently there are 2048 other Blade Runners. But now I'm just giving WB ideas.
But seriously, episode 1 sucked, and then you went to go all see episode 2 like it was going to be the best thing ever, and it sucked, arguably worse. And then you all lined up around the block to see episode 3 like the last 2 movies hadn't sucked. And then you all line up around the block to see episode 7, like the prequels didn't suck. And then that turned out to be like the worst fucking thing ever. And then you all line up to see episode 8. And you know, all these people bitching about, oh, it's so bad now, blah, blah, blah. You're going to go see episode 9. Don't fucking bullshit me. You're going to go see it.
If someone pays me to see it, I'll go see it, but otherwise, no. I haven't seen Rogue One, and I'm certainly not going to see that fucking Han Solo with Travis.
Yeah, I didn't see Rogue One, and I've actually heard a few people say Rogue One was actually decent. I didn't see episode 8, and I'm not going to go see Solo, because you know what? I saw 4 shitty movies in this franchise in a row. How many more chances am I supposed to give it?
How many more times are we supposed to lick the turd before we realize we're dealing with a entire litter box full of shit? How many apples do you want us to eat?
One more bag. You know, I said in my video, I'm like, at this point, Star Wars fans are like a battered wife. Like, no matter how many times this franchise pops you in the mouth, you just insist that, no, it just had a bad day. Star Wars really loves me.
Words, you will beg for George Lucas before the end, and I waited. And then The Last Jedi happened.
Yeah, you know how bad The Last Jedi was?
Fuck you, I was right, fuck you, I was right, fuck.
Yeah, The Last Jedi is really... I can't imagine how bad that is.
No, The Last Jedi, that, you know how bad it was? It was so bad it got Razorfist to give up on Star Wars.
Yeah, and that's a guy still defending Spoonie. Well, I think we're probably going to wrap this up. We've gone on long enough. Nerded out a little, covered the important topics of the week. All right, folks. So, somebody says, somebody sent me on Skype. It says $20 billion, but you have to watch an entire Blacked video to get it. Are you fucking kidding me? I'll watch the entire Blacked catalog for $20 million. I mean, shit, man. It's just watching porn. Who cares? Oh, no, actually, I misread that. He said 200 billion. Motherfucker, for 200 billion, I'll be in a black.com video. All right?
You'll be the cuck?
Fuck, I'll be the girl. I don't care. $200 billion. Are you kidding me? Don't. And you know what? You know what? If you say you wouldn't do it for $200 billion, you're fucking lying to me. You fucking lying. I don't care how much he tears me up. I can afford surgery to fix it.
You can probably afford to, therapy and surgery to get that, that part of your memory removed.
I don't even care, man. I just be laughing the whole time. It'd be the worst shoot because I'd just be like, yeah, $200 billion.
At some point, we're gonna have to put together like a best of Bechtloff reel of all the highlight clips from the show.
Yeah, fuck it. 200. Yeah, fuck. All three of those did news for $200 billion. I don't care. Now, yeah, I mean, I'll probably spend the first few weeks crying afterwards, but I'll dry those tears with $100 bills, motherfucker. Don't even think that's like $200 billion to watch a black dot comedy. Are you kidding me? Fucking, if I thought you were serious, I'd be logging onto the site right now.
I was once forced to watch gay porn. After that pit of darkness, black.com is nothing.
Yeah. I'll sit through a class for that fucking professor that thinks Jesus was butt fucked on the cross. I don't care. There's not much I wouldn't do for $200 billion. Same for you. I mean, like you can take 1 billion of that and you can fucking buy every one of these geek sites and make sure MovieBob never works again. Like just the fucked up shit you could do with that kind of money.
You could probably pay someone to cut his internet and also, make sure he never leaves the house.
Yeah, I will pay someone to follow MovieBob around in public with a tuba. You know what? Fuck it. I'll do it. Because I got to have something to do with my days. So I'm just going to follow him every time he leaves the house. I'm just going to be walking around with the tuba just. And he could be mad at me and be like, yeah, when you were in that black.com video, it was like $200 billion, motherfucker.
I'm enjoying myself way too much right now.
Somebody says Bechtloff would be in the closet in a Superman costume for $200 billion. Somebody says $200 billion to take a pause load. I'm like, no. All right, these guys are going to have to get tested first. All right. Money's worthless if you don't have your health. Okay.
I'm sorry. I just had this wonderful visual of MovieBob on the T or whatever the metro system in Boston is called, and you just sitting next to him with the tuba, just going broop, 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 broop.
Every time he takes a step. If he falls down, then it's like. Like I just re-upload MovieBob videos with tuba sound effects at it. That's all my channel is now.
I don't know why I'm laughing so hard. I don't know why.
Just walking around like $8,000 in tuba lessons. Totally worth it.
Why do I find this so funny? Why?
200 billion. Would you do? Anybody that tells me they wouldn't do that for $200 billion is fucking full of shit. All right. I don't know if you're lying to me or yourself. All right. But that $200 billion.
God, it's actually starting to hurt now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people make fun of me all the day long. I'm like, $200 billion, motherfucker. Don't tell me you wouldn't have. I mean, I don't know why anyone would want to pay me that for that, because I mean, you know, I've never sucked a dick before. I'm probably not going to be any good at it. I'll probably be crying the whole time. But hey, you got the money. I'm not made of stone, all right? Every person has their price, and I'm pretty sure mine is well below 200 billion fucking dollars.
Yeah, it's 200 billion and some apples.
I mean, I'm just that's just it. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all, all right? That's all it is, you know. Not gonna have my pride here. Like, I'm just being honest. All right, folks. So I think that'll about wrap it up.
Yeah, before my jaw completely falls off from laughter.
If you enjoy the show, do check out the Patreon and the PayPal, where you can send me $200 billion if you're so inclined. And also, there's the Amazon wish list. Those are ways to keep to support the show. And also, another way to support the show is to check out the sponsors, which are Aaron Clary, who's with Asshole Consulting, and Steve's Jerky, which is just absolutely fantastic jerky. And another way to support the show is, of course, to like, comment, and subscribe, especially given that I'm on the backup channel. I could use that. So, yeah, folks, that's about all we got for tonight. I want to thank you all for listening. And, you know, go to church tomorrow, you heathens. You know, I gotta go to church, too, and confess the fact that I'd completely sell out for $200 billion.
Burp, 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 burp.
I'm not kidding, man. I just hire somebody to stand outside Mike Enoch's fucking house just yelling, "You're a phony!"
Stop it, man. I'm going to die here.
Yeah, dude, 200 billion. I mean, you almost can't piss away that money fast enough to be broke again. I mean, shit. Like, I don't think I've lived long enough to be able to piss away all that money.
You could pay someone to...
I'm right here. You were just making it look like you were playing. You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big phony.
Exactly.
You hire someone to set us out of Christopher Cantwell's trailer and tell him Charlottesville was a dumb idea.
Oh, jeez. Would you watch a porn video for $200 billion? Motherfucker, are you serious? $200 billion. You just slap my ass and call me Sally. All right, folks. That's about all we got for this week. I want to thank you all for listening. Do pass this channel, the new channel, along to other people. I'm sure there's quite a few people that hadn't got the memo yet. Yeah, that's about all we got for this week. Thanks for listening. Bechtloff out.